Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast, your daily dose of inspiration and growth. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today is an incredible special episode. It is our 200th episode. Yes, 200 days of growth, elevation, and transformation together. And you know what Kevin shared with us earlier this week, right? He said that from day to day, progress is invisible. But from year to year, progress is impossible to miss. And these 200 episodes are living proof of that wisdom, right? What started off as a 4-week series has become a daily journey of elevation, showing exactly what happens when we shift our paradigms about what's possible. But before we get into this episode of celebration, we're going to take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, D Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
What are some common barriers that prevent people from expressing? Hey, it's your girl, D Goddess Nyomi Banks, here from the Season of Self-Love podcast.
Yeah, I would say remorse. So, shame and guilt is a very dividing emotional.
And these are one of the many amazing conversations that we have every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Season of Self-Love podcast with myself, Nyomi Banks, as well as our resident therapist, Dr. Will Washington of Washington Wellness Institute. Come by.
The reality of our relationships with people.
Come by.
And a lot of times we're afraid of how people look at us. And so that compassion can't enter.
You can hit us on our
So
website,
really
the Season of Self-Love podcast.com.
Let me ask you this, with the truth, is it...
All right, well, welcome back, my beautiful people, to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today we are celebrating our 200th episode. Yes, we are. And we also are continuing our beautiful and amazing conversation on Elevate You in unlocking your true potential here on this series, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. But before we get into our topic today, let's center ourselves with the daily meditation, all right? So what I want you to do is I want you to find a comfortable position and take a deep breath in to centering your breath. I want you to feel the energy of these 200 days. In each small step, with each piece of goal discovered. I want you to breathe into this moment where awareness meets action, where paradigms shift into new realities. Now feel your readiness to rise, to take the next step to create real transformation. Now take one final deep breath in. Now I want you to bring this momentum with you and ready to turn this insight into action. Now you may open up your eyes. All right, so if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something that we do every day, Monday through Friday, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, all right? All right, my beautiful people. So remember what Kevin told us about finding pieces of gold. He said there's rarely one big piece that changes everything, right? It's all about the pieces that we collect along the way. But these 200 episodes represent those 200 pieces of gold that we gathered together. You see, Bob Proctor, he teaches us that when we change our paradigms, we change our life. Well, let me share 3 paradigm shifts that I witnessed through our journey from sprint to marathon. So remember in the beginning, I told you all that I was a sprinter. That is what I did in track and field. I was a sprinter. So everything was quick and fast to me. The faster that I was, the more awards that I won. Even playing basketball, the quicker that I got down the court, the faster that I got down the court and made the basket, the quicker I won the game, right? Well, from sprint to marathon is more of understanding the sustainable progress. And so I had to understand that I had to condition myself, not only my body, but mentally, to sustain and go longer. Does that make sense? More in valuing invisible daily growth. So even though I wasn't seeing my growth, but I had to value what I've been learning, what I've been seeing in my life. So remember when I speak and I talk about, it's not what happened to me, but what's happening for me. Yeah. Meaning that a lot of things that happen in my life, both good and bad, I look at those as gifts, as gifts, lessons, presents, whatever. But they were there for me, and they for me to apply them in my life, but also they were teachable moments. They allowed me to help to build platforms like this, and also for me to celebrate my small victories. Every day that I decided to get up in the morning and that I decided to write an idea or type an idea into a computer or a topic or share my story or interview somebody, those were small victories. Because I could have decided just to let it be. I could have decided just to hold on to my old life and to stay right there. Does that make sense to y'all? So I understand exactly what Kevin meant. And let me be very honest. I didn't even pay attention that we were on a 200th episode. I did not. As I was doing the editing for this week and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my God, we are coming up to the 200th episode. I'm like, oh my God. And then when I'm editing and I'm listening and I'm looking back at, what Kevin has said, I'm like, oh my, this is so fitting. This is so aligned. So remember, if you guys have read the book, Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life, and if you were a part of that 10-day book challenge, and he talk about in the book, he talk about how the law, about the law of the universe, about the law on how things are how it just flows. And it's just flowing right now. Like everything is just flowing. And I wouldn't have thought that, like literally. That is happening right now in this series, our 200th episode, which started off last year in October, 4 episodes, 1 episode a week over there at Ask Land, Bridging the Gap. We're only supposed to be a 1-month series for 4 weeks. That's it. And I heard a little voice that said, this needs to be daily. Do it daily. And I remember sitting at my altar. And I remember praying. And I remember like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm doing this. And all I kept saying, yes, this is where you're supposed to be. So let's talk about number 2, from knowledge to action. Moving beyond my understanding. So remember I sat at my altar, not understanding why I'm supposed to be here. I was built for this. My journey, my path was meant for this. So where I am at this exact spot right here today was meant to be right here. And creating a daily practice. Before I even began with the season of self-love, I had already been 2 or 3 years in of already doing my meditations and daily practices, not knowing that it was preparing me for this very platform. It was help building my momentum through consistency, making sure that I was posting daily. I remember somebody said, that's hard. You got 2 podcasts and you got one daily that you posted every day? Wow, that is so difficult. You sure you're going to be able to handle that? And I am so glad that I did not listen to that. I remember just hearing myself to say, you can do this. You can do this. You were built for this. You were made for this. Do you understand who you are? Do you understand what self-love is? You do. Self-love is an intimate relationship with yourself. Self-love is falling in love with yourself. And now that we know and understand what changing your paradigm is, that is just an added strawberry on the top of it. When I found that out about a month ago, that just added more into the teachings. that just made this more full for me. I'm going to share with you real fast, and I know I probably should have been real quick with this, but I had to. I couldn't just do that. I couldn't just go fast with it. When doing this podcast, I remember taking the summer break. I took off 3 months, and I missed it so much. I miss coming in and doing these topics. I miss Dr. Will. I miss sitting with my co-host and speaking with him. You know, even though he was in 2 times a week, I still miss that conversation and us going back and forth and sharing our knowledge. You know, I miss that. You know, because it was like it was like food for my soul. So then when I came back in September, it was on and popping. But then we brought back some beautiful people with us that just helped and just brought the community like full fold. And so now I understand when Bob Proctor talked about making a decision, about understanding visualization, about being disciplined. I understand that now. I understand it now. Because what I visualize, I can see it so real now. Remember when I used to talk about smelling it, tasting it, feeling it? I do. And I can truly say this coming on a 200th episode after 1 year, starting with 4 episodes. And if you're new here, and this is your first time listening, I want you to go Google up Nyomi Banks, Nyomiban, and I'm going to say it, XXX. And then when you come back, You say, that's the same lady? Yes, that's the same lady. That's the same lady. That's what transformation looks like. That's what transitioning looks like. That's what growth looks like. That's what changing your paradigm looks like. That's what's moving beyond your understanding looks like. It's funny, a lot of times when we want to change our life and we want to elevate and we want to move forward in something different, a lot of times fear stands in our way that we can't move forward, or because we're known as something or something, whether it's in a small group with your family members or work people. I'm on a bigger platform, so people would think it's more difficult and hard for me. But when you sit and you look and you like, dang, wow, is she really talking like that? Yeah, but guess what? I've always talked like this. But now I'm no longer afraid to be me. I'm no longer afraid to allow my inner beauty to shine and match my outer beauty. Does that make sense? I am not ashamed of no parts of my journey, because that was my essence that made me who I am. That's who made me who I am. So me coming from my solo to my community, this is another part of my paradigm that's changing. From my solo as solo Nyomi Banks, the adult porn star, to a community. Now I'm a part of a community where we talk about self-love, where we talk about self-discovery, where we talk about serving one another, where we talk about bettering one another. We talk about God. I talk about sex on my other podcast. But you understand what I'm saying? So in here, and on this podcast, in this community here, we talk about rising together. We do challenges. We do different things where we support each other in growth. We could create collective elevation. When I say this is full circle for me, oh my God. Usually I do just audio, but on this episode, I'm going to release a visual of it because I want y'all to see the smile that is on my face, or how proud that I am of this. Because if I allow society to put me in a box, if I allow society to write my narrative and write my story, I wouldn't be sitting here now. And I know I have people that's wrote in and say, thank you for sharing that episode. Thank you for bringing that guest on. And honestly, it's not even a thank me. It's thank God, because it's been aligned. They were aligned to be on here. I'm just here. The only thing is that I had the courage to walk on in my purpose. And I'm just here to tell everybody else that you can do the same thing. You can do the same thing. You can forgive yourself and move forward. Whatever it is that you have done in the past, whether you have done it to someone else and you have done it to yourself, ask for forgiveness and forgive yourself and move forward. Move forward. If you have not read or listened to this book, Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life, by Bob Proctor. I ask that you do. I will have a link down there for you guys to take a listen to. You can look link. A special link. Yeah, I get a little credit for it. I'm just gonna say it. But that's not why I'm pumping it. I'm still listening to this book. I listen to it every day. Every day. I listen to it for at least 30 minutes. Because it's an amazing book. And it truly will change your paradigm. When I say it's going to switch that light on for you, it's going to switch that light on for you. Anybody who's willing to listen, I'm always telling them something about a book. Before it was the 4 Agreements. That's another great and amazing book. Great and amazing book. I'm a person that I'm always learning, forever learning, always teaching, always learning, forever teaching. Whichever one you want to flip it, that is me. I have a thirst for knowledge. Yeah, I want to do this. I want to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about power steps, all right? It's your girl, D Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Hey, it's Dr. Will with the Washington Wellness Institute. Here at the Institute, we focus on so many different things, but our biggest focus is modernizing how we take mental illness into holistic wellness and making healing a lifestyle. So, if you're interested in taking the next steps, whether it's a clinician, community member, or simply just a friend, sign up today for a 15-minute consultation. You won't regret it. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, well, welcome back, my beautiful people. You know what Kevin has said about digging one deep hole instead of many shallow ones, right? Well, that's exactly what we've been doing these past 200 episodes. So let me share our Power Steps framework for continuing this deep work. The morning power hour, first 20 minutes, paradigm work. Paradigm work. Mine is 30 minutes. And that's me listening to my book. The second 20 minutes is physical elevation. Working out. My final 20 minutes is my spiritual connection. And that is me at my altar. Every morning. Every morning. Every morning. My next one, the daily gold mining. Choose one paradigm to shift a day. Take one action to take, one victory to celebrate, one person to elevate, and one step toward growth. And the last one is to integration practice. Do an evening reflection, do a progress tracking, and next day planning. All right. All right, Kevin also shared with us on how he went from successful but unfulfilled to both successful and fulfilled. So let's address on what often blocks that journey. Old paradigms. Now, I told you before about one of my old paradigms was that, and it was only a little part, like probably 6 years of my life that I was an adult actress, adult star. 6, 7 years that I was actively it. But in part of that was part of my blockage, trying to go beyond that name, that stereo name. But the thing is, I still held on to that name. I carry that name to this day, and it's for a reason. But the thing is that with our old paradigms, it's about identifying our limited beliefs. So within that name, even before then, I had limited beliefs. But what I did is I took that name, Nyomi Banks, and I put it with something just so positive to remove that limited belief away from it and made it limitless. And the crazy thing is that I did it unbeknownst to myself. Yeah. In that moment, I was creating new thought patterns and building sustainable changes. The next one is the fear of the process. Understanding invisible progress. Now, this took me a moment in time because I'm so used of everything coming to me fast. Remember, I was a sprinter. And remember before I told you I was married to a drug dealer? In the porn industry, money is fast. So everything I come from fast money. I'm a sprinter. Everything came from me was quick, right? Now for the past 5 or 10 years, everything has to take its time. Everything I had to build. I had to run a marathon. Now I had to become a long distance runner. Now this is where I have to really pay attention to my surroundings. So I had to understand that everything is a day-to-day. And I had to trust the journey. I had to trust that everything that I was going through on a daily, that it was for me, that it was for me, that it wasn't happening to me, but it was happening for me. And celebrating it, celebrating all the small shifts. And then when I say I was celebrating, I celebrate them. I call my sister. I call one of my good girls. Well, I'm texting one of my good girlfriends all the time. We forever always sharing in the DMs. But things like that was helping me with my fear process. And then the lack of integration, combining in internal and external work. When I saw things for raw and real was really during the month of November. And when I shared with you in the beginning how it was so hard for me in October to get November series all together. And that's because I wasn't aligned. I was trying to force something that wasn't quite there yet. I was moving so fast that I was moving against the law, as Bob Proctor would say. But then once I started to understand that I was moving against the law, that I wasn't aligned, what was supposed to happen, that I wasn't genuine in what I was doing, then I had to get genuine in what I was doing. And that allowed me and allowed it to flow and allowed a frequency to go rising up. And now it's just flowing. And when I feel it from my inside and my outside, now I start to work from the inside out. So then I'm balancing my growth areas in all areas of my life and creating a holistic elevation. All right, my beautiful people, as we celebrate 200 episodes, I want to give you what Bob Proctor calls a pattern interrupt assignment. A pattern interrupt assignment. So I want to take a moment to one, identify your current paradigms about progress. Identify your current paradigms about progress. 2, choose one daily action that aligns with your desire paradigm. And then 3, commit to finding your pieces of gold each day. And I want you to remember, what Kevin said. Some days you're collecting gold, other days you're digging deeper, but both are progress. My beautiful people, these 200 episodes represents our collective commitment to elevation. Whether you've been here since day one or you just joined us, you're part of this journey of transformation. But again, I want to thank you for showing up, for doing the work, for finding your pieces of gold. And here's to 100 more episodes of loving ourselves first. This is your girl, the goddess Nyomi Banks here, and you're listening to the Season of Self-Love podcast. Again, I thank you so much. I am so humbly honored. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.